Of course, Rihanna, you know, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Lift me up.
Hey, all I know is lift me up, boy. That's it, boy.
Lift me up. I didn't want to start.
I don't know the rest.
Boy.
Come in.
What?
All I know is lift me up.
I wasn't sure that's what she was
I would have been like this and just stopped.
Hey guys, yes, we are here. We are all here together. Family, NNESAGA, you know the place to be. And we're here for a very special review. Yes, you know, I've been waiting all day for this one. It's Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2. Stephen Geekface, you know me. I'm here with the pretty boy face. I'm here with the gang. Who else is here, man?
What intro?
Who else is here, man?
It's Prince, man. We NNESAGA up in the building. Let's go, man.
Come on.
So it's Icey Ayyz said it. Icey, it's about, you already know. We here with the gang.
It's your girl Tyrande.
Raw, like I don't know how to even do an intro. Everyone's just done that. I'm just like, hey, what's good, guys? It's your girl Steph from NNESAGA. As you all know, we are NNESAGA, and we are here to do the Black Panther Wakanda Forever full review. First and foremost, we want to thank the incredible Vamp UK team and Marvel for inviting us all down. Over the past week, we've had the opportunity to watch the Black Panther Wakanda Forever early. So here are some of our thoughts. And starting off, Tayo, what are some of your initial thoughts going into the movie?
Cool. So one of the most anticipated films of 2022, and I'm so happy that we finally got to see it. After watching it yesterday, I think they did a great job with obviously a massive loss of Chadwick Boseman. I was skeptical of how they were going to handle it, but I think they did it very well.
So I was a bit like Tayo in a sense where I was wondering how they would, you know, implement the death of Chadwick, you know, rip him. And they did it really good, to be honest. They did it really good. I feel like we got a deeper look into Wakanda as a community, as a country, rather than just singling out Black Panther.
Yeah, this is definitely one for the books, man. They definitely brought it to the table. Ranko definitely had a big task to do, and I think for the most part they fulfilled it, especially, you know, juggling, you know, the death of Chadwick, rest in peace, and obviously having to take this story and making it all blend together for something that's very a love letter to Chadwick, as well as it being a great MCU movie. It's definitely in the top 10 movie potentially, but time will tell.
Yeah, for me, I was nervous. My initial thing was I was nervous because we're ending this phase now. And obviously, with everything that happened prior to this film with Chadwick, rest in peace, you know, I was scared because I was thinking, please, let's not end it on this film in a bad way. Like, how? Like, let's please make not this one. Make it something else, just not this one. So I was really nervous, but I was happy with the way everything transitioned.
I remember when I was sleeping, I can't remember how many years, it's been like, I think 2 years since Chadwick's passed. About 2 years.
Yeah.
So I remember I was sleeping and I was just, you know, I think it was just like a weird time because I think we were kind of in the middle of the pandemic or something. Anyways, I was sleeping and I get a call from Timmy. Shout out to Timmy from the Nerd Council. He was like, Steph, Chadwick's passed, you know. I said, what? Like, it wasn't correlating because, you know, when you're sleeping, you're like, and it's like 4 a.m. Obviously the time difference in the US and stuff. And I'm just like, nah, it can't be. Like, I'm not awake. I just feel like, nah, I'm just gonna go to sleep. Maybe I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming about it. And he's just like, nah, Steph, like, check your phone, check the timeline, just check everything. And I went to check everything and it just said Chadwick Boseman passed. And then obviously they put out an official statement on his Twitter handles and his social handles, and even thinking about it now is getting chills on my spine. And it's like, I don't really, when it comes, obviously death is inevitable. First and foremost, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. And, you know, that's something it's always guaranteed. But you just never felt like it was going to happen to someone that you really admired. And I don't really pay attention to celebrities like that, and I just take it in, take it out. But there's certain few celebrities or certain few, you know, public figures, it holds you close, you know. And the impact that Chadwick had from Black Panther 1 leading up to Black Panther 2, even us, we was just thinking, is this guy not tired? Because the promo run, do you know what I mean? But you can tell now, upon looking on it, now it makes sense as to why he went so hard for it. Then obviously it came to the reality of, okay, what's going to happen with the franchise of Black Panther, because he is the star, you know. And I really liked how Marvel, Ryan Coogler, and the whole team really dealt with his death. And I just didn't understand like how it was going to, you know, be going forward, but it was beautifully told. And, you know, watching it and watching it again, it was just it was a very emotional experience, but it also kind of brought out hope out of the movie. Let's get into, you know, a bit of the background. Obviously, you know, we have explained that, you know, Chadwick did pass, and that kind of made Ryan change the direction of Black Panther.
So I feel like what they done with the direction of the film, I did like it, because at the end of the day, you know, we know there was always going to be a change. From what I initially when I initially heard the first direction of the story about them opening up Wakanda, I don't know, I love Wakanda so much, I felt a bit protective, like, nah, don't open it up, man, that's our thing, like, don't open it up. So, you know, for the fact that that changed, but if they did open it up, I only wanted it to be Chadwick to do it. Yeah, it was good, I enjoyed it, and I'm excited for it, at the same time skeptical, but it was nice to see the transition and how they did the tribute as well. It's just, yeah, it was amazing, man. You know, I saw it in the trailer and I was thinking, okay, it's gonna pull heartstrings in the air. It really did. I really loved it. And the painting, man, the painting touched my heart. So yeah.
I didn't actually hear about the how it originally was going to go down, and how it obviously, so I didn't actually have any prior expectations. The only thing I was skeptical about, like I said before, was, you know, how they were going to deal with the death. And I feel like they dealt with it quite well, and I feel like the direction that they did take it was really good. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. I didn't feel like, oh, this would have been better if Chadwick was still here, or if, you know what I mean. I felt like the way they did it was really good. It sat well with me. It sat well with the heart. You know, it's even like, as Prince said, the fact that I'm hearing that they were gonna open up Wakanda, so I'm thinking, I mean, like you said, I was thinking, yeah, it's our thing, as I'm hearing it now. But yeah, like I like the direction they took it. I feel like now there's more possibilities in, see, without spoiling too much, there's more possibilities with the villain. You know, there's more possibilities that we could potentially see in the future. So, you know, I enjoyed it.
Well, obviously when Chadwick passed away, obviously I couldn't help it. As much as I was sad, I kept thinking about what's going to happen to the MCU and who are they going to replace him. I was one of those ones who said, I think they should replace him. Like, I appreciate what he did as the character, but the character is still bigger than the person that played it. I think there's still more stories that need to be told with this character. And if we just end it there, it'll be kind of a shame. So I was very on the fence of recast him. And obviously they spoke about the direction, they have to change the story. I knew about Namor being in the film, that being something they've been trying to get into, introduced and stuff. But obviously Ryan Coogler had to flip the whole script when it comes to the story. But I was definitely sold when I saw the trailer. I was like, okay, I still think maybe later down the line, we need to have that conversation again about recasting T'Challa. We need the black, because even though the film did what it had to do, obviously they had to deal with, they were grieving when they were making this film, and I think they did a really good job of packaging everything. But obviously moving forward, that conversation needs to happen again. And I definitely felt the absence of Chadwick in this film. I couldn't help but think, what would this film been like if he was in it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what everyone has said. Chadwick's death hit me hard. He's actually been the only celebrity death I've cried over, because as Steph said, I was actually awake when the news broke. I was like 3-4 in the morning, I was still awake, and I was just on Twitter and I saw it, and literally I was like, what the hell? So that was like a massive loss. I think they handled his loss in the film very well. As I mentioned before, I was skeptical in terms of, because I didn't want it to be like gimmicky. I didn't want to see like a CGI'd face or hear his voice some way, somehow, and I'm happy that they didn't do that. And it was handled in a way where we didn't need to see him or we didn't need to hear him, apart from like the flashbacks to the first film or like the mural they did on the wall. I didn't actually want to know anything about how the script was meant to go or how the storyline was meant to go. Even the trailer they put out, I was happy to just kind of see the teaser. I just didn't want to see too much of anything too soon. I think I wanted to go in it very fresh-eyed and just not have too much prior knowledge to what was meant to happen or what direction it could have gone in. But
in sense of the background, for me, I feel like even though it was supposed to go one way and it came out another way, I'm glad it was a way to kind of pay off that kind of chapter for Chadwick and what he left, but then also bring in something new. And then also having those nodes of remembrance, but also those notes of like hope and faith, and making the most out of a situation that was so sudden. So like you said, Tayo, like how we felt, imagine now the cast, especially them being so close. And big up the cast, honestly, because it's not easy losing someone who you considered as a colleague, but also a friend, a family, and having to now go into work every day to really just deal with the fact that this guy's not going to be on that chair anymore. Like, I remember even reading some news when they were at the set and everything, they made Chadwick number one, and then they changed it to now Letitia Wright. She didn't want to be number one because obviously, yes, she's the main lead, but they always wanted to keep it as Chadwick number one and her number two. So just those little things. And even just when you watch the movie and you see like some of the Wakanda alphabet around and it says long live T'Challa, rest in peace, and that type of stuff, those little nodes, so it doesn't feel like it's overbearing, but it's still paying respect. So it was really, really great. So I guess next, now getting into the story of Wakanda Forever, how did everyone feel with the story? Did everyone like it? What were some things that really stood out for you?
I personally like the story. I like the way they took it, as I said before. I like the introduction of certain new characters, not just like on the villain side. I like the introductions with certain characters. I love the emotion showed by Shuri. I really felt like I was going through her internal battle with herself, without spoiling too much. You really felt her mourning. You really felt, her grieving, and it really did pull on my heartstrings, and it tied in really well with the story. It wasn't just a sad vibes movie. There was meaning behind it. Everything fit together so well. The pacing was, in my opinion, good, tied in with the story.
The story for me, for the most part, worked, especially having to deal with everything that's happened. Obviously, you can't help but think about the background of how it was produced, how it was written, what happened, Chadwick and everything else that people had to deal with. It's definitely a continuation from the first film. You'd think everything that's happened in the world with the blip and Thanos, that people have a different mindset to Wakanda, but no, people are still on their neck and all sorts, and it's them having to deal with it. And there's somebody else that comes into the picture, kind of similar to Killmonger, but has a bigger purpose of why he's doing certain things.
Next now is the themes. So, one thing that stood out to me is the growth and, how they kind of evolved with their styling, with just the whole way they just kind of made sure that everyone was, identified so uniquely. I felt like there was just so much more to play with. I know they did a collaboration with Adidas. I know there was another the wardrobe stylist as well. They're like well renowned. I'll put the name down somewhere. And just seeing how significant like everyone's kind of styling and their sense of how they carry themselves has grown. And then on top of that, I loved the soundtrack for this movie. I loved it. I was even thinking, did I prefer number 1 or 2? I kind of prefer this one. I'll be real. I'll be so real. I really loved how there's a lot more African artists on this soundtrack. Of course, Rihanna. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Lift me up.
I didn't know.
Hey, all I know is lift me up, boy. That's it, boy.
Lift me up was the only. I didn't want to
Yeah, I don't know the
start.
rest.
I was
Come
thinking,
in.
What?
All I know is lift me up,
I wasn't sure that's what she was
boy,
getting.
I would have been like this and just stopped. I would have been
like the emoji. You know?
I was gonna sing the Burna Boy too. Like I was thinking.
You know it. I'm done. Even Stormzy, shout out Stormzy.
Shout out Stormzy as well. Big deal for him.
That was sick. Yeah.
That was wavy.
Yeah, theme, styling, amazing. There was one top that Okoye was wearing when she was talking to Michaela Cole's character.
I think it's a Dilla song.
Yeah, it's someone sent it to me yesterday. It's £400,000. I said amen, but I need it. I need it. I need it. Somehow I might find a dupe. I've got to get it. I need it. And even there was one tracksuit set that Shuri was wearing. Oh, it was like everyone just looked
when she was with Okoye.
So yeah, it was like one purple, and I said everyone just looked so sick.
I agree with Tayo so much. Like the styling was so good. One thing that stood out for me was the hairstyles. Oh my god, certain headwear, certain hairstyles for me. I was just looking at it like maybe I should grow my hair up. Maybe I should. I mean, I don't know if it'll look good on me.
I was tempted to cut my hair again. I'll be real.
I think you should do it. I mean, my live stream, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the themes for me, I'm going to say Marvel, thank you for giving Black Panther the budget they deserve. You didn't give it to them the first time.
Period.
Because boy, they had to work with what they had. But yeah, thank you for giving them. You know, I mean, they made $1 billion that first time, so I'm glad you returned it back to them, because everything was top notch. The clothes, the style. I just even like the look of Wakanda. Like this time, you know, the first movie is just one shot. The stairs. That was all you got from Wakanda outside the palace. True. But this time we got to see a bit more. We got to see the design. Everything was just like, okay, they've really gone out to find, you know, the creatives that can make certain outfits look good. The way they made the sea people, Namor's people look amazing as well. Yeah, that I was blown away.
Yeah, like I feel like the style, the theme, all of it for me, really, I really liked it. You know, obviously, yeah, with more of a budget, you could do a lot more, but then they didn't do too much. So it was more like, you know, it still felt like, yeah, like it's them. And then when they go, you know what I mean, even without like spoiling, when they went to America, you know what I mean, she was able to just dress down. She just looked like a normal, you know what I'm saying? Like she just fit in with society. It was quite easy, and I really liked that. I think my favorite part of Wakanda right now was it was just by the end of the river, and they had like a little society there and all of that, and it was just nice because it felt like, yeah, man, that's
sometimes fish.
That felt
sometimes
homey.
fishing.
Yeah, like sometimes fish, not in some electric tick. Like sometimes, get the bucket, have your bucket bath. I want to see some real. You know me, like, you know about the bucket.
Everyday technology.
Come on. So that was
the market.
It was aesthetically pleasing, man. It was so nice.
Yeah, I agree, and I liked how you said how they just went back to basics. You know, with people like down by the river and like, you know, around their home, and it's like, I think one of the themes is just that representation. You know, Black Panther as a franchise, that representation shown across the movie and off the movie as well is so important, and they've conveyed it so well to the point where when they've now introduced Namor's people, and they've, you know, switched up his origin story, you know, so it kind of fits a bit more to the movie from the comics, just, you know, Tenoch and just how proud he was to really represent as Namor, and obviously him being, you know, Mexican and being a Latina, and how, you know, Coogler has been able to kind of embrace another ethnicity, another race into this movie, do you know what I mean? Without it looking too forced, because what movie do you get that's predominantly Black, that's in the big screen? Like obviously you get a couple, but that's on a Marvel budget, you know? And I just loved how Black Panther has still kind of maintained its homegrown self. It's been still blackety black, but they've also been able to kind of welcome in another community in without it looking like it's overbearing. I guess one of our favorite things to get into now is the characters. Now, my standouts, of course, Letitia Wright playing Princess Shuri, Angela Bassett acting,
Listen.
giving performances like it was
Other that giving you enough.
Yeah, I mean, he gave me enough and more. Like I felt it. I felt it. Obviously, Tenoch as Namor, the introduction of him, like fantastic and big. You know, hats off to him for that. Dominic Thorne playing Ruby Williams. You know, aka Ironheart. It's just that introduction made me so excited for her own series.
So for me, of course, you know, with Shuri, you know, a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure, and she dealt with it. Like in my eyes, she dealt with it and dealt with it very well, and not in a way where, you know, she's just following, you know, how you expect it. No, in her own way. I absolutely love that. And Baku, man, I love him, man. He's just, you needed him in the film. You needed that guy that, you know what I mean? He's coming in, he's just, man's serious meeting, man's just munching, you know, he's just there. Like, I love that character. I feel like we always need that in a film for me. And Namor coming in, it's not easy to come into I don't think it's easy for any character to come into any film, but with everything that did happen and then to come into this film, and you stepped in and are on screen, he's 10 out of 10, man. So yeah, that's my standouts right there, man.
I agree with Prince. Namor, it's like you said, it's not easy to come into. I would even say it's like our space. It's not easy to come in and, you know, blend in so well, and we respect you for, you know, we respect you really well for it. Like, he did such a good job. He played a very, very, very good villain. You know, we even, without spoiling too much, we gotta look into his people. We gotta look into, you know, his ancestry, and, you know, the respect there is amazing. You know, touching on what Steph said as well, Dominic Thorne as Ironheart, she was so good. She just reminded me of myself back in the day in unis. You know, I was as smart as her. You know, come on guys, you already know this. You know, she's literally just trying to, you know, make bank. She was just literally she's trying to do her thing, make bank. She's still, as much as, you know, you've got a crisis going on in the world, she's still thinking, listen, I've got uni tomorrow. What's going on? You know, what's going on?
Yeah,
so I think like that,
still.
literally.
The character that stood out for me, Winston Duke as M'Baku. I mean, it's M'Baku. Never. Scenes he was in, once again, he bodies that character. He knows it inside out. It is him. Like, that's just him. 100%. And when he was there, he stole the scenes. Like, you couldn't take your eyes off him, and it was always a joy to see him. And hopefully we see more of him later down the line, because I just think it's a very interesting character. Angela Bassett, Queen Mother, she rocked the house. I could see why they're talking about Oscars with her. The scene she was in, it was powerful, especially at the beginning. That first half when she was in it, man, I felt like I got told off. I was like, right, okay. I'm sorry, auntie.
She started talking. I even sat up a bit. I was slouching. I sat up. I said,
I just don't want it. Like, everyone's head was down in a certain scene, but great performance from her.
Yeah, I agree with literally what everyone has said. Letitia Wright was my standout. I think even her as Shuri and her in real life, I've seen interviews, just the way she portrays herself, just the way that she talks about the film and her, I guess, emotion towards losing Chadwick, and also the fact that she actually got injured while filming this film, and then she had to take a 3-month break, and then she almost died with the accident. She had a concussion, and I think she fractured something, so it was like a serious injury. So she had to take a break. The fact that she did that, and she said she came back stronger, it was just amazing to see. You could really see the emotion on screen. I'm pretty sure the tears we saw from her were real, like, just from the loss that they suffered, basically. Angela Bassett, rent was due. She came and said, I'm acting. This is my performance. She was Queen Mother, like, everything. She did the thing. Neymar for villain. Even though I don't really see him as a villain, but he's a villain. I loved him as well. I think, as we said, I think off camera, he had a purpose for being a villain, and it made sense. It was something that you can kind of get behind. He might have gone about it the right way, all the way that we would have liked, but it still made sense and I still enjoyed him. Ugbad, who was sitting next to me, and my friend Key found him very hot. They kept saying
she's gonna edit this like.
I knew you were gonna bring this in. There was no way you're gonna get through this review without bringing it in.
I kept hearing it. I said, "No, it's hot." I said, "Can you come down?"
She thinks this is a slice of life anime, like.
I see he good looking or whatever, but yeah, he was really good.
Going back into villains now, I mean, I guess we won't call him a villain, but I guess he is the villain at the same time. I guess he'll kind of grow into more the villainness, but Namor, played by Tenich Fluta, incredible, honestly. First and foremost, I loved how he kept true to his heritage and true to himself. And I'm not just talking about him playing Namor, him as an actor, as a person. I remember watching San Diego Comic-Con and when they first came out and stuff, and how he was just in awe of just being a part of this. And you can just feel his, like him just representing who he is as an actor and as a character. For example, for him to not, I love the fact that he didn't change, his accent. I love the fact that you can see those hints of like, even though it was to do with Namor and like their heritage, but you can still see the hints of his influence throughout, him playing the role and what his duty was. I loved his motive. I loved, what he had to do for his people. For those who don't know, Namor is a mutant. So he is introduced as the MCU's first mutant. So it was great to just see how that was without it being obvious. Like, hey, I'm Namor, I'm a mutant. So it was great to just see how they utilized him, but like not to his full extent.
Sorry to be the guy has to correct someone. He's not the first mutant they've established in the MCU. He's the second one now. Actually,
who's the first one?
Miss Marvel.
Oh, true. But if we're talking about movies,
okay,
but she's a series. Yeah. It's because she's a series.
Movies, then yeah.
Okay, but overall, true. Okay, yeah. So with all movies, as much as we love it and we want it to be perfect, and I feel like with this movie you want to kind of give it a bly because of given the circumstance. Look at Stephen already ready to be an Eddie
ready, boy.
I'm like zooming on this already. I'm gonna be upfront and honest, like this wasn't a perfect movie. I want to give it, my emotional self would be like, 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna be very honest. When I first watched it, I just felt like it wasn't gonna be a 10, not because of Chadwick's passing, but I just felt like there was just a lot of moments that dragged. And I guess my gripes are, I wanted to see, I guess, spoiler alert, I mean, if you watched the movie, if you haven't, what are you doing? Stop watching. But let's just get into it. I wanted to see more Shuri as Black Panther. I get the notion of she's trying to, come into it and, she's trying to still figure out her feet, but you can't just hype up the whole trailers up right and down and we only see 10 minutes of her. I really wanted to see what her fighting was like, her skills are like her as Black Panther, but from her perspective, and I felt like there wasn't enough of that and it was quite underwhelming.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I agree with what Steph said. The length of the film, maybe because I knew exactly how long it would be, like I checked before and I saw 2 hours and 40 minutes and I was like, Jesus, this is a long film. And then I remember at one point, I think when it got to 2 hours, I checked my watch, I said, okay, we still have 40 minutes. What? Why? It was too long for me. I feel like it could have been 2.5 hours, even 2 hours. I would have been happy. So there was certain parts that dragged as well. And as Steph said, I wanted to see more Shuri, but I kind of understand why we didn't. As much as we wanted it, I mean, we did need it. I think she had to kind of get through a lot of layers of what she was dealing with and try and decide what type of Black Panther she wanted to be.
I'm kind of on your wave, Tayo. Like, other than the timing thing, I mean, I didn't know it was gonna be that long, But I didn't have nothing to do after, so I was like, you know what, let me just sit down and enjoy it. Work's done. We're gonna go home to play COD. So I said to myself, you know what, let me just enjoy it. I had plenty of snacks around me, so I wasn't missing out on anything. You know, I like my food. But like I feel like I'm not really, I don't really think that's that much of an issue for me personally. But other than that, I can't really say I had anything that I didn't like of the film. And I did actually want to see more of Shuri. I actually did want to see more of her in action, because the little that we did see, spicy. She was saucy with it. Do you know what I'm saying? A more agile panther, a panther actually, you know, with the build of a panther, if you would say, you know, that's something that we saw hints of it. We saw, you know what I'm saying? We actually like to see more of that.
I'm pretty much the same. There wasn't much I didn't like. I did want to see more Black Panther. And just going down to your point, Icey, like realistically, yeah, like one thing that I did love about Shuri and Black Panther in the previous is that she's always very bossy on the upgrades that come with the next suit. And we didn't get to see that.
Don't worry, I haven't got too much things to complain about. Yes, I definitely agree with everyone. No, seriously, definitely agree with everyone about the pacing. Especially, I felt it more in the middle. I was just like, because they spend too much time having to establish. There's so many people they had to establish. They do a backstory of this character, this person over here. We've got to go to the colonizers, find out what they're doing as well. There was just too much going on, and I wanted it just to be a bit more time, because the beginning of the film was so strong. Like, I was like, if this is what we're going through, I can't wait for how this is going to end. And the ending was a bit anti-climax for me. It was just, I wish they did more. This was supposed to be the big, you know the film. It's a big battle. It's a war. It's wartime. Let's see the spearing. Let's see the water. Let's see the blood. There wasn't enough of that, and I wish there was. And because there were so many people that they had to juggle with, I feel like certain characters were on the sideline, like Okoye, you know, and Baku. They were just there, and I wish they would had more scenes in the film. I
agree with them, Baku in particular. Yeah.
And depending how you feel about certain characters from the first one, some of them may make an appearance in this one, and some of you might like it, and some of you might not like it. But obviously, that's for another debate.
What would everyone give this movie as a rating? After watching it twice, the first score I did give was 7.88. Now the second score now is 8.5. No, not 8.4.
I overall enjoyed it. I think it was an amazing film. Like I said, I think they handled it very well. It's not a perfect film, but it's a strong film. I'm watching it again, and then I wouldn't know if I prefer the first or the second one. I haven't decided yet. Because the first one I've watched it so many times, so I need to really watch again. So overall, I will give it 8.5, like Steph said.
Well, if Chadwick had not passed away and he was in this movie and it was exactly how it was, it didn't change anything, the rating might have been a little bit lower. Just on the fact of, if this is what they're doing, because I still have to, like, I don't do this for every movie, you know, you don't always find out what's happening in somebody's life when they made the film, but because this feels so close to us, it feels so personal, and we understood what they were going through, I'm going to be a little bit lenient. The film is not perfect. There are moments that the audience are definitely going to enjoy themselves. Some may cry, some may not, but the film sometimes forgets to bring the excitement to a typical MCU movie. There are some exciting scenes, some exciting characters, some witty dialogue, but it doesn't bring the excitement that we've seen from other films. And I still prefer the first Black Panther compared to this one. I've thought about it multiple times. Besides that, it's still a good, strong movie. It's a great way to end Phase 4, because Phase 4 has been up and down. It's been crazy. So I'm glad this is the one to kind of just end it, and we can now move on, you know, in February when we get Ant-Man and all sorts and crazy stuff. So on that note, guys, I'm going to give this film 8 out of 10. So
yeah, I think for me, yesterday when I left the cinema, I was like, oh, you know, 10, you know, as you do, your emotions are high, you're gassed, everything, you know what I mean? And I think that the reason I was saying 10 when I left the cinema was because they didn't do it badly. The transition, the emotion, they didn't do none of that badly. And to me, that was, even though yes, what's the next steps in the Black Panther film is always there's going to be other Black Panther films, so there's time to always make up. So for me, one of the most important parts was the transition, and I feel like they transitioned it very well. When I did get to think about it in terms of action wise, like we've mentioned before, with just seeing more of the Black Panther itself, you know, that's when, you know, the rating does go a bit down, but I'll go to like an 8.7, man. I'm very happy with the film. I'm very happy with the film.
Me personally, I would give the film an 8 out of 10. I'll give it an 8 solid 8 out of 10. I might even say a high 8 out of 10. You know, I'm very lenient when it comes to even reviewing films in general. You know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel like for a film to make me feel that level of emotion multiple times, and have a good action scene, a good fight scene, have a good story attached together well, plus you're paying homage to, you know, Chadwick, a character that's so, or a person that's so close to, you know, all of our hearts, you know, that it will be a high 8 for me, a high 8 out of 10.
So we've got a lot of eights here. So I'd say from NNESAGA, as a whole together, it'll probably be like a 8.7 out of 10. So, yeah, I honestly, I think that's it. And obviously, you know, the post-credit, post-mid-credit, however you want to call it, I think with that, it's one of those ones where it can be left as that, or they can bring in Black Panther 3. So I'm glad they kind of introduced that, because it can be up in the air however they want to do it. I guess depending on where they're going to, you know, in the further of the MCU. But with that being said, I am overall satisfied with this movie. It was a beautiful, emotional, and a real way to send off this chapter of not just phase 4, but the legacy of, you know, Chadwick and what he left on. Once again, thank you so much to Vamp UK and Marvel for allowing the whole NNESAGA team to, you know, watch the movie early. If you guys have not already, make sure you guys go check out Black Panther Wakanda Forever in cinemas, and make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you on the flip side. You already know it's NNESAGA to the world and back, and we will see you soon.